going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic dropping the car vlog. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. If nobody tells you that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. The guys know that I'm praying for you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics, and I put up my matches as Classic Alpha, professional wrestler of 13 years. I have a playlist of my matches so you guys can watch, comment, and enjoy. You know, I don't just be saying stuff. I really do this stuff for real. I'm also a professional wrestling promoter with my wife, C3 Ultimate Wrestling. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. Our next show is August 30th, the 11th hour. It's in Dyer, Indiana. Harold's private venue. Get your tickets on Eventbrite now. They are $5 off. Get the sale while you can. Bring family or friends or people who love professional wrestling and come witness the ultimate experience. There'll be $5 more at the door. Bars. Summerslam, night 1. So that means night 2 is tonight. Turn on. SummerSlam, night 1. This is my review. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I was under the impression that this show's going to start at 7 o'clock. Little did I know was I wrong. I tuned in around the time where Charlotte and Alexa was going against Raquel and Roxanne. So I'll say that. And I had to wait dang near 2 hours to watch the first match, which was Roman and Jay versus the Bronze. Hey, Peacock, y'all got to do something about that, man. Like, if the show is ending, you shouldn't have the live feed going all the way past that to the media press coverage stuff and all of that stuff. Like, we literally have to wait to start over because the time will overlap. And then even if you do try to watch it from the beginning, it'll definitely skip all the way, especially if you pause it. That's one thing I did like about the network, was that it would end. Now, I do know we're in a different time where people are doing interviews and they have things for media conferences and interviews, but y'all need to learn how to cut that so I can go back and watch the stuff that I looked at. I shouldn't have to wait about an hour or two, in my opinion, to watch something at the beginning. Now, it is my fault that I did not realize what time it started, but still, I'm just saying, it's always been like a frustrating thing. And then we would get the Spanish version, the translation, before the English version. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just wait for the English version. But still, Cardi B was the host. I think they've been trying to get Cardi B to host SummerSlam for like the past few years. I remember when that Up song came out, and I think they wanted her to, that was like the theme for, like, was it last year's or 2 years ago? And then I think they wanted her to show up, but I did think that she got pregnant or something like that. So they finally got her to host, around her area, New York, New Jersey, and stuff like that. She seemed animated and nice and stuff like that. It seems like she was, doing what she was, being herself. She's done commercials with Bianca and stuff like that. So interesting to see. First match was Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus the Bronze, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. We've talked about Jey Uso's cardio, and lo and behold, what is one of the first things he said besides all the other stuff he did? I'm tired. Like, this dude literally said this while he was doing the dance and yeeting with the crowd and stuff. Like, he just walked right past the crowd. He walked right past the cameras like, I'm tired. I'm like, oh my God, please don't be an indication that this match will be bad. Please don't let this be an indication that this, because he already saying he tired. Roman came out. I liked his colors of the gauntlets and the shoes and stuff like that. Everybody acknowledged him. Even Jay, his cousin, acknowledged him and stuff. When the Bronze came out with Paul Heyman, who was the Oracle, Bronson had the shoes, and Michael Cole says he calls it the Shula Follow. Bronson calls it the Shula Follow. I like it. Roman, you got to get your shoes back, bro. You got to get your shoes back. I think the shoes are a little bit more important to the Ula Follow, to like the outside eye. Now to the family, obviously the Ula Follow is the most important, but still, he got the Shula Follow. You need to get your Shula Follow back. But still, match was good. Match was pretty good. It was a decent opener. In the beginning of the match, Roman and Jay, they ran it back so Uso can do his yeet and the dance and stuff like that. The stuff he's been doing. Then the Bronze took over and stuff like that. I think that they did great. Bronson is a beast. Braun Breaker is also a beast. I liked when Braun Breaker was beating up Jay. He looked at Roman and was like, hey, I got a song for you. Roman Reigns, You should stay. You should go away. I like stuff like that. And Bronson, he was doing the yeet and stuff, making fun of it. Like, I like when bad characters can show personality outside of just telling the fans that they suck and stuff like that. So when you can mimic and stuff, that's why I like Solo so much. Solo is a gem to me, and he's golden in my opinion. So they all did great. They all had times to shine. Obviously, Jay was gonna get beat up for the most part. Braun Breaker was doing Braun Breaker things, and like I said, I love his intensity, but man, you can tone down and still be intense, man. He just be jumping over stuff and tackling. So I know he did that high shoulder tackle to Roman, which was impressive. I thought it was a spear for a minute. I thought it was a high angle spear, but it was like a shoulder tackle and stuff like that. And it was just like, I know he did, like, he said he was hurt, he was limping. I don't know, with everything that's going on, especially with the main. But still, very intense. Roman did a dive out, and he basically cleared the guys except when he put his hand out to take out Bronson. And when he put his hand on Bronson, he did a sonic spin dash move and landed right. Because I was like, man, he definitely was about to eat that flow. Or that flow was about to eat him. So, it was a great match. Roman ate a spear for Jay from Braun Breaker, and then that went to everything to culminate into Jey Uso pinning, who he pinned? Bronson? I think he pinned Bronson. I could be wrong. It could be Braun. But Jay and Roman is the victor. I do want to say it's Bronson. I could be wrong. It's too many Brons. Solid match. Second match, it was Alexa Bliss and Charlotte versus Raquel and Roxanne. They're doing a thing like we're not friends, we're allies and stuff, and I like it. I think it's pretty good. Solid match. Y'all know where it's going. It's a solid match. They was teasing like, Alexa had hit Charlotte or whatever, and then they made it seem like at the end of the match, Charlotte was about to take out Alexa when Alexa was doing the Sister Abigail to Roxanne. They did a couple spots where it seemed like Roxanne and Raquel was going to win. I do love Raquel and Roxanne as a team. I think they've done pretty well with certain stuff, especially with the absence of Liv Morgan. I do think they did great. They did great at the last show. Was it Saturday night's main event? No, Evolution. They did great at Evolution too. I thought they did great. I think they did great as a dynamic. At the end, when Charlotte did take out Raquel, Alexa did the Sister Abigail to Roxanne and won. So now we have new women's tag champs. It was good. Like I said, solid, but not great. Like, it's nothing against these people or whatever like that. I think it was solid. I'll say it was solid and good. It was good. Want to say next match was Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. Now, I was under the impression that whoever won, the loser was going to say you was right and I was wrong. That didn't happen. Karrion Kross came out. A lot of people like Karrion Kross. They was cheering for him and stuff. Sami Zayn came out. They were singing the song. They liked it and things like that. So, they was fighting. Eventually, Scarlett had a pipe. What's his name? Karrion tried to hit Sami, and then Sami hit him with the Blue Thunder. Karrion was beating him up a little bit. He was like, hey, you need to change. You need to change. You want to be this. You want to be that. Eventually, Scarlett just gave Sami the pipe, and then they was doing it like, was Sami going to hit Karrion with the pipe, or is he not? But he winded up throwing it and finishing the match. The end came eventually. Sami hit Karrion with the haluva kick, and that was it. It felt like the same match they had at, I want to say, Saturday night's main event. It seemed like the same match, the same setup, except a pipe was involved. But yeah, it seems like Karrion is up out of there. I could be wrong. Just how like he shook Sami Zayn's hand or whatever like that. Seemed like they had some words. Maybe it's a story. Maybe I'm thinking too deep into it. Maybe Karrion is telling him something else. Because, Karrion is calling himself the devil, So, he's been that little devil on Sami's shoulder on, like, how to be a champion and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. I know a lot of people were upset that Karrion did take a loss. Some people felt like, hey, what was the point of all of this other stuff they've been doing for him? And a lot of people been buying his shirts and supporting him. I don't know. Like I said, it seems like that's what's happening, but I could be wrong, and that's completely fine. We'll see where it goes from here. Like I said, sometimes the business don't go the way you want it to go, and it don't matter if you like this person and if you buy the shirts and stuff like that. Sometimes they listen, and sometimes they listen and they avoid it, and they feel like they got other stuff. So that's how it is with that. Next match was Jade Cargill going against Tiffany Stratton for the women's championship on SmackDown. They basically was touting that these women worked so hard to get here and stuff like that. You know, they said Tiffany been wrestling for like 4 years and she's on top of the world. She's beating Charlotte, Nia Jax, Trish Stratus and stuff. They talked about Jade Cargill, Queen of the Ring, women's champion and stuff like that. So Jade comes out in Jamaican colors to some of her heritage and stuff. I know that Kofi was making fun of her, saying that she dressed up as a tribute to Kofi Kingston when he first started. Kofi is just crazy. Which is funny, but it's because it did look like, you know, they definitely could have been a cohesive unit. As far as the match goes, I felt that it was too short. And I hate that for the women. I hate it for the women. That's my first gripe, was that I felt like the match should have been longer. It didn't feel as special as it should have been because it's Summerslam. As far as the pacing, it just seemed a little odd. Not even gonna lie. From both of them. It just seemed a little odd. I mean, there was like one spot, Jade threw Tiffany in the crowd, and then Jade was getting up on the ring. She made like eye contact with Tiffany and then sits on the apron and poses. And I'm like, we literally just saw you look at Tiffany. And Tiffany kicked her, and then she did a dive out spot. And in a way, it was just so odd because Jade was looking at her the whole time with the dive out spot. The match was like solid. It was like they was trying to start off with like one-upping each other and stuff like that. And it was a couple reversals and stuff like that. And I think that they started to cook. They started to do good. Jade did basically her version of a Blue Thunder Bomb. They called it like the Eye of the Storm. They showed like a slow motion of it, and you could just see like Tiffany's face just in fear, embracing the impact of the move. Jade did hit the Jaded on Tiffany, and then when she rolled her, she pulled her legs back for the pin in the ropes. And I kind of like that because, you know, a lot of people talked about that when she beat Asuka sort of that way, and it was like, well, her shoulders is up, so they was trying to say she was making rookie mistakes. It sucks to say rookie mistakes because she's been there for like 2 years already, and it's like y'all already giving her a title opportunity. For them to like go that route, I understand. They should have probably said like she was just excited to be a champion. I think it worked. Then they eventually set up for the Jaded off the second rope. I hate that move because it never looks right. The setup never looks right. The Jade just grabs this person by their arms, and that person gingerly climbs up each rope to get to the top. I just don't like it because it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right because you see the wrestler that's about to take the move looking at where their feet is going, and it looks weird. It just looks weird. But she eventually turned that and she flipped it and flipped Jade. Now, I did like that. That was impressive. And then Tiffany hit the prettiest moonsault ever and beat Jade. And Jade was like seething at the end, holding her head, like looking in disappointment. Like I said, I felt that this match wasn't long enough, especially for a SummerSlam event for 2 nights and a women's championship. I didn't feel like it was long enough. I felt the pacing was a little off, and I also feel that Tiffany should be a brat. She should be bad gal. I think that they jumped the gun by like making her a likable person, a face, because the crowd loved her. I think the crowd was going to love her anyway, and I think that if she acted more mean in the mean girl stuff, I think it would have just done a little bit better. I don't think the crowd would like abandon her. They should have just went that way. Like having her just be the good person, I don't think it's working personally. Obviously, they believe so much in her and stuff like that, but I do think that she needs to go back into picking on people and talking about stuff, and I'm this and that, and fashion and all that. I think they need to go back to that. As far as Jade is concerned, this was basically her most prestigious match because it was for the women's title. Who knows if they're going to do a story or whatever like that. Like I said, the pacing was a little off. And like even going back to Tiffany, Tiffany's last few matches, they just been aight to me. Her match with Trish Stratus was aight, you know what I'm saying? And her match with Charlotte at WrestleMania, it was okay. I was expecting a little more. So I don't know. I think it's just the character. It gotta be the character. I just, maybe she goes back to that bratty persona. I think that will work for her more than what they're doing. The crowd's still gonna react that it's Tiffy time and stuff like that. Hey man, we got Johnson. He said his time is now, and then now it's Tiffy time, and it's catchy. But yeah, I definitely think that they need to do something character direction wise for Tiffany. Next match was Randy Orton and Jelly Roll going against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul for sure. Bars. Anyway, tag match. Logan and Drew came out first, and then Jelly Roll came out. Jelly Roll looked like he'd been wearing that ever since he'd been in the WWE ring. I don't know, maybe the shoes is different. I understand, he's a bigger guy, whatever like that. He don't want his belly out and all that. But anyway, he came out, got the crowd behind him and stuff, and then he started singing Randy Orton's song. Then the crowd got into it. Let's talk about the match. The match was too long. And I feel like that match was long, and that's why they wanted them to have a longer time, and they cut the women's match or whatever like that. I don't know if another match went over, but still, I think this match should have been shorter than what it was. Jelly Roll, he started the match. At first it was Randy, then Jelly Roll tagged Randy because Logan hit him first before the bell rung. And then Randy was like, you sure? And he was like, yeah. So he did some stuff, and eventually Drew got tagged in, and then Randy was like, hey, tag me in. And then Jelly Roll was like, hey, nah, I got it. And then he walked up to Drew and like, dang, he big. Now, let me say this about Jelly Roll. I understand he's a great fan and all of that stuff, and he wanted to wrestle, and he's been training, he's been losing weight and stuff like that. Shout out to him, by the way. But man, when they're throwing punches, you can't just do this to duck a punch. Like, you gotta get down. Like, I'm glad I ain't driving. You gotta get down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta duck. And it's like, to me, it was like almost every time Logan and Drew would try to hit him with something, he just like, you gotta have more emphasis on it. Like, he's a bigger guy that was doing the powerhouse thing, and obviously he was going to get beat up because he's not a full-time wrestler or whatever like that. That was like one of my main gripes about the situation. The match was too long. Anyway, they started beating up Randy and Jelly Roll, and then Logan got on the top rope while Drew put him on the announce table. Logan wasted 2 Prime bottles, clicked them together, and then he splashed on Jelly Roll. And it took them a long time to get Jelly Roll up to like walk away to do what everybody knew what was about to happen. Randy started getting beaten up, and then Jelly Roll was like, nah, I want to help them. And it worked. The crowd loved it. The crowd was all into it. And that's what happened. And he came back. He did a couple things. He gave Logan a choke slam after talking to him. And then he also gave Drew the what they call it? Was it the Jelly Roll Slam? I forgot what they called it. But he gave him that, and then eventually it just went into a heap. Claymore from Drew to Jelly Roll, and then Randy hit Drew with the RKO. Logan threw Randy out, and then Logan hit the frog splash for Jelly Roll on Pinned-Em. 1, 2, 3. The match was okay. The match is just too long. And when I looked at this match, I definitely seen what was going on. And we've been talking about it. They are really going to roll the red carpet out for more of these wrestlers. I mean, not wrestlers, non-wrestlers, these celebrities, these streamers, these artists to come in and wrestle. They're going to try to microwave train these people for a 5-star moment, a 5-star event. They're going to try to do this stuff because I don't know if it's TKO or what. They want these celebrities to come in and be like, hey, why don't you train for a little bit? Travis Scott, if everything worked out for him, he probably would have wrestled on this event or whatever like that, And some non-wrestlers and wrestlers get it. Logan Paul is a wrestler now. Bad Bunny is a wrestler now. I think they do care about the business enough to understand the legitimacy of it and stuff like that. But then you see Drewski and you have all of these other guys, and they're look like they may want to go into the ring eventually, and that may happen. You get what I'm saying? That's exactly may happen. That may happen. And it's just like, like I said, this match was too long, and I feel like they could have cut that match in half and gave more for the women's to wrestle. And maybe the women's matches they would have cooked. Who knows? But like I said, what he did, it was okay. The match was just okay. I just felt that it was too long. Main event time. CM Punk versus World Heavyweight Champion Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm going to say this was the match of the night. Hands down. Not even close. Listen, regardless of what you guys say about CM Punk, you don't like him as a person, you don't like him as this and that. That man knows when to put on. He realizes what wrestling is. He realizes what storytelling is and how valid it is. So that man showed how you're supposed to make matches look great and be great and feel great. You can never take that away from CM Punk. This guy, he doesn't have a lot of bad matches. And this is just one of the ones that you're going to say is one of his great ones. Gunther comes in basically being a big bully. Chops lethal. Every time he chopped CM Punk was on the ground. Like lethal chops. That's how you project how lethal those chops are. I've seen people do matches where they get chopped and then that's it. They'll say, and then that's it. Punk was feeling those chops like you're supposed to. Gunther was so lethal with the chops. He chopped him on his back, his stomach, his leg, the back of his leg. That's how lethal they were. Oh my gosh. Gunther had Punk down for a lot of the time and was bullying him. He didn't like that he called him a boy, a kid, or whatever he called him. He was like, hey, am I a kid now? Like when he was choking him out and stuff like that. And it was just like every time CM Punk would like get up and hit something, Gunther would come out of nowhere with it. Gunther jumped over Punk and gave him a boot. Like I wasn't expecting that. Like that was nice. He gave that man power bombs and everything. And then the tides turned when Gunther started feeling himself. And then he got on the announce table. Punk knocked him over, landed on his face. And then the next time we saw Gunther, he wore the crimson mask and he was bleeding. He got in the ring, looked at the blood. Oh my God, started hallucinating. Like, how many times have you seen Gunther be busted open? Pause, no Diddy. And man, it was just spectacular. Punk just kept coming back. He kept fighting, getting an elbow drop and everything like that. And it was just like Gunther was trying to fight back, but he just couldn't. The blood and all that. Couldn't see the story that they were saying that he couldn't see with the blood and everything like that. And then Punk, he grabbed him for the GTS. He leaned back like Fat Joe. And then he set him over for another GTS. 1, 2, 3. That match was dope. It was only one slip up, and that was like when Gunther tried to like stomp Punk at the beginning, and I don't know what happened. It just looked weird. But other than that, that match was great. That match was solid. CM Punk, for the time, was a world champion. You can tell he had the emotion, the same cry he had when he won the AEW title, and the match was fantastic. As soon as he put that belt up, down. So Seth comes out with his knee brace and his crutches. Now, a lot of people, the speculation has been that his injury was not legit because, his wife was like posting stuff about him and crutches and stuff. And then like he came out and was like, hey, when I'm healed, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you when I'm healed. I'm going to get you when I'm healed. And Paul Heyman was just like, yeah, he's going to get you. He's going to get you. Seth turns around on his crutches, stops. When he stops, I started like, this is perfect. This is so perfect. Drops the crutches, takes the knee brace off, starts running to Punk, Starts brawling with Punk. Then he hits him with the briefcase. And again, and again, and again. I'm going to cash in. Cashes in, give him the curve stomp, 1, 2, 3. Seth's biggest thing was CM Punk will never be world champion, or he'll never be on top as a world champion as long as I'm alive. And man, did he succeed with that. Oh my gosh, that was so great. That was so great. I was like, this is how you're supposed to end SummerSlam. Like, this was the highlight of SummerSlam. Like, like I said, some of the matches, they was decent and they was solid and stuff like that. And maybe I'm a little harsh on the Charlotte and Alexa match. You know what? That actually was a pretty good match. I'll say that. I'm thinking back of it now. That was a pretty good match. Those women did put on, and they had time to. The other women's match, they didn't. I don't think they had enough time, but also the pacing was off. The tag match, like it was okay, like it was some solid stuff. Like these pay-per-views have been solid, PLEs if you want to call them that. They've been solid. It's just like, this is SummerSlam. Y'all made this a 2-night event for a reason. So I'm trying to see why it's a 2-night event. And I know what they're doing. I just hate that they do it. And this is why it's bad to have a 2-night event. Because you want to make sure that night 2 will be better than night 1. And even then, what they did was it made it seem like they wanted to make sure the main event was the main event. And trust me, I think that all those other matches would have been solid. It could have been better and all that, been treated more like a PLE outside of the women's tag. But that match was dang near perfect. So I hate it because they've done this before. They've done this to when they made it seem like, this all is going to be good from start to finish, and then it just wasn't. The main was the star and stuff like that, and I'm curious to see. This might be match of the whole weekend. That's my thoughts. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. I thought it was decent. The main event shined. The tag match for the women was good. I felt like I needed a little more. I felt Jelly Roll's performance was okay, but I also felt like it was just too long and that match should have went to the women. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. We will be talking about night 2 tomorrow. Let's take it home.